Hi, cozy friends. Today we are going to talk about how to take care of yourself when everything just sucks. Kind of like a step-by-step guide for when you simply cannot function. Everybody's threshold for functioning looks different, and maybe your reason for everything sucking is different too. Maybe it's stress at work, maybe it's stress in your personal life, maybe it's the state of the world, maybe it's chemical imbalance. Whatever it is, it's just simply a feeling of wanting to be absorbed into the earth and disappear from the world and have no obligations at all. You guys know the feeling. And sometimes it just feels like the absolute last thing you could do is move a single muscle, move a single finger to take care of yourself or to do what you need to do. If you have tasks that won't wait, chores piling up, if everything feels like too much and you feel like you have zero battery and zero capacity to handle it all, I feel you. I've been there. I'm giving you a virtual hug, but also there is a path forward and there is a path that can help you in each stage that you go through in this period. Through those experiences over this 30-year life of mine, I have realized that I have formed a bit of a framework for how to approach these stages and these moments. And it's an approach that leads with compassion and care for myself instead of shame and blame so that I can get through those moments and pull through on the other side. Here are various ways that I think are really important to take care of yourself in your worst days. So there will be 3 stages with key points for each stage, but let's start with stage 1. So stage 1 is hibernation. This is the stage where you do not want to leave your bed. You don't want to leave your house. You don't want to lift a finger. You don't want to do anything. And it's almost not that you don't want to, it's that you can't. It feels like you physically can't. It feels like there is a wet, heavy blanket on you at all times. It will not come off for anything. For the things that previously made you happy and excited, for other people that you love in your life, that wet blanket is just not coming off. And it's a scary time. It's a lonely time. Like, you can't really explain what you're going through to anybody else. And when you try, it just doesn't feel sufficient, you know? But I'm sure so many of us have felt that same feeling. And so you are not alone. Number 1, there's nothing wrong with you. Number 2, and number 3, this is what you need to do throughout this stage. And I just want to say as a disclaimer, none of these tips or advice can or would be able to address like clinical mental health occurrences. If you feel like your mental health has gotten to a point where it is a chemical imbalance, it is beyond your control, that is the time to seek a professional. And there is no amount of like, you got this, girl, that is going to address that. And so I just want to say this is not for those situations. But I do think these can help supplement that in the meantime. Okay. Moving on. And real quickly, hey y'all, speaking of taking care of ourselves, today's video is sponsored by Midi Health. Thank you, Midi Health. If you've noticed like sudden flat days, or you feel like your mood is slowly getting more and more out of your control, or you feel like brain fog is taking over your memory, it's so easy to feel like something's wrong with you and dwell in that feeling, when in reality, it's probably not you, it's your hormones. As you know, I've entered my 30s this year, and as I do get older, I notice so many little changes happening here and there every year. So I recently booked a virtual visit with a midi clinician. If you haven't heard of midi before, it's a virtual care clinic that provides compassionate medical care to women, with specializations ranging from perimenopause to menopause to skin and hair and more. So I had some personal concerns, and at my virtual visit, my midi clinician handled everything so well. It made me feel so comfortable talking about like such a personal topic. I also asked her what signs I should look out for as I age to know when to start seeking help for perimenopause. And she was really excited to explain like what to look for at different stages of my life, which was such a unique experience to get to talk to a clinician who actually cares. So if you catch yourself feeling just a little bit off, or you just want to be proactive about your health, there's a path for compassionate care that you can get from the comfort of your own home with Midi. Most visits are covered by insurance as well, so go to trymidi.com/cozyk to schedule a virtual visit and join the over 200,000 women who love and trust Midi for their care.
Thank you, Midi.
So the first key to the hibernation phase is actually allowing yourself to escape and do nothing. And this is not going to be a one size fits all. This is going to be very choose your own adventure, customized to your needs, customized to your capacity and your schedule, because where one person might be able to take a mental health day off of work, another person might not be able to. And so definitely amend this to your schedule, and in the lowest possible increments you can, working your way up, allow yourself time to do absolutely nothing. If it's the time you get off work between the time you go to bed, let that be the time you do absolutely nothing. However, if you do have a little bit more flexibility and you can take that time off of work, maybe you can put in some PTO. Maybe you can just schedule an appointment day. If you're a freelancer, maybe you can front load a little bit of work so that you can take the second half of the week off. But the key here, and I know this is especially hard for busybodies. I am one. I am a recovering workaholic, and work for me became something that was simply just a form of self-sabotage. Simply just stopping has been the single hardest thing for me to learn when it comes to my mental health for the past 4 to 5 years. Simply just pausing, pushing the brakes, telling myself I can stop, and then actually believing it. That's the key, is believing it so that you can release any guilt and shame around actually pausing. Again, needing a day, needing a mental health day, needing a mental health week, needing a mental health month does not mean there's anything wrong with you, does not mean you're not able to function like everybody else. It does not mean you're weak. It means you are listening to yourself, you're listening to your body, and you are moving through this life in a way that is sustainable and prioritizing your happiness instead of productivity. So we're allowing ourselves that time, and we're releasing any feelings of shame or guilt around it. And in this time, we are preparing everything we need for hibernation. We are picking our spot. Could be multiple spots in the house. Maybe it's your bed. Maybe it's a little chair. Maybe it's your desk. If you like to game or watch videos at your desk or something, maybe it's your sofa. Wherever it is, pick your spot. You can move around too if you feel up to it. Gather everything you need and keep returning to that spot. Get your hobbies that you love. Get your snacks that you love. Order in food if you can. If you want to get some movement in because that works for your brain chemistry and getting a little serotonin going, then bring some things that you can do in bed. If you want to do a little bit of hygiene and you don't want to get up, bring it into bed. That's totally fine. Lower any sensory inputs in this time. Dim lights. Don't turn on the big lights. Keep the small lights on only. Maybe turn every light off. Keep the blinds closed. Unless you want a little bit of light and you're a person who functions better with light, then open them blinds up. Making sure that you have food that is easy to prepare and or just easily accessible. At this stage, just being fed at all is the goal. At this point, we're not trying to, make a Michelin star bed restaurant here. We're not trying to eat the most optimal thing ever. Just anything that you can feed yourself. And we are not moralizing any food choices in this process. That's something we should do always. However, that's super important in hibernation phase, especially when those negative and self-critical thoughts can creep in more and more when our guard is down and we have less capacity and less energy to shield them. Okay, key number 2 for the hibernation stage is to tell somebody. Sometimes this can be the hardest part, and that is because it requires you to admit to yourself that something is not okay. And often that is a very hard thing to do because it's terrifying, it's scary. Again, as somebody who has always been very self-sufficient, independent, I have the worst time, I have the hardest time admitting to myself that something is wrong and that something needs to change. And as soon as I do, I'm able to be like, oh, okay, let's figure this out. But it takes me so long because that requires admitting that something is wrong. And in the past, I've tied that to me doing something wrong when that's not the case. Something wrong does not mean I failed or I did something wrong. It simply means something's wrong. Something's just not working. There's a gear in this mechanism that's off, that broke. It does not mean you're the one who broke it. So admitting something's wrong and telling someone about it, telling a therapist, telling a friend, telling a partner, telling a family member, telling a diary. If you don't have somebody, that's fine. Tell a diary. I do that all the time. In the early stages when I'm like, okay, something might be wrong, I'm telling my diary first. And then once I have a little bit more of an understanding of what's going on, then I tell people in my life. But I do find it nearly impossible to move on to the next stages without first admitting that something is wrong. So this is not really a step that can be avoided. And honestly, the sooner you can recognize your tells that something is off, whether it's getting sick all the time, whether it's just having less motivation, whether it's taking care of yourself a little bit less, whatever your specific tells are, it's really good to have those front of mind so that as soon as they start to happen, you're able to admit something is off sooner rather than later so that you can move through these steps and bring yourself out on the other side. And again, doing so without moralizing anything and without any shame, like expressing, hey, something's wrong, and treat it like you're sick, like treat it like you caught a cold. It's not your fault you caught a cold. You just have a cold. And sometimes you need to tell people that so that they know, and you can set expectations and they can help if they have the capacity. So admit. Okay. Key number 3 is kind of what we've been talking about, but do not internalize shame around this moment in your life. If you need to, personify the voice of the inner critic. Make it some little gremlin that you absolutely hate and whose authority you do not trust or put any weight in. So when these thoughts do creep in, instead of seeing it as somebody you trust, an internal voice that you trust, seeing it as yourself, seeing it as truth, you're seeing this little gremlin who you're like, what the hell are you talking about? What are you talking about? Shut up. And then you can dispel easily any shame-filled, self-blaming thoughts that come in.
You have overcome your saboteur, and I'm so proud to see it. I'm so proud to see it.
And like I said, when our guard is down, it's the easiest to internalize those and to take it as truth. And so we need to have some kind of filter, some kind of defense mechanism that is blocking those thoughts. And in the inverse, there's the classic approach of viewing yourself as childhood you, because you will not impart the same critiques and the same expectations and the same high standards and impossible standards onto little you as you would adult you. You can do the classic tip of putting a picture of yourself as a little kid somewhere that's visible. If you're in bed, keep that in bed next to you. Put it on your bathroom mirror, wherever you need to put it, to remind yourself that you have little you to take care of. And you will not be mean to little you. You will not blame little you for needing time away from life. You will not blame little you for not having the energy to do something. You will not blame little you for not keeping up with things around the house or things on your person. You will just say, I understand life is hard, and here, let me give you a little hug and let's figure this out step by step together. And then know and trust that future you is going to take care of the things that are not being taken care of in that moment. The pile of laundry piling up, that's future you. Future you is going to take care of that. The list of tasks that you still need to get to after all is said and done, future you will get to that. Let yourself have this time without letting those future you responsibilities weigh you down, because then this time is for naught. Like, this time is spent in vain when you can't actually spend the time decompressing, relaxing, resting, and releasing obligation from yourself. Okay, key number 4 for the hibernation phase is picking just 2 things that you can do for yourself every day. And this serves a dual purpose. The first is genuinely taking care of yourself. And the second is just to have some tiny wins in your day, because you will be amazed at how much that does help push you through. So for me, usually I pick showering and brushing my teeth. If I can do those 2 things, I won the day. I won the day. Because in these rough periods, in these rough moments, literally nothing sounds possible. It sounds horrendous. It sounds awful to try and do anything. Pick 2 things that you know you can do, that you've done a million times before, that will in some way benefit you if after showering and brushing my teeth, I would sit on my bathroom stool in my towel and stare into the void for God knows how long, and that's all I would do, that's fine, because I did the two things and that got me through the rest of the day. And this can be whatever's in your capacity. If it's just washing your face with water, maybe it's just changing your clothes. Everything else seems a little bit easier after that. Usually I would end up doing a lot more things after that in the day, because again, it's those two things. It's like a little crutch. It's an anchor for you. You do those two things, and then there's a little bit of a push. They are small commitments, but they are subconsciously telling you not to give up on yourself. And that helps. It does. Okay, so you're in your hibernation phase. You are taking that time. You are doing nothing. Or you are doing the things that do bring you a little bitty spark of hope and joy, and you are starting to feel a little bit restless, and maybe you're starting to feel like, okay, I'm ruminating more than I am spending time like recovering. Maybe I don't need this idle time to recover anymore. Maybe I have a little bit in me, and if I just sit here any longer, it's just gonna be rumination. It's not gonna be helpful. That time is when you're ready to move to stage 2, and so we can gently take the hands of little us and guide us past the hibernation stage over to stage 2. Stage 2 is baby steps. So this is the stage between hibernation and re-emergence, where you're kind of shifting a little bit between the two. There's a mix of both. So the first key to this stage is going back to your normal routine, but at the absolute bare minimum. Your favorite word in this stage is going to be no. Full favorite sentence will be, I'm sorry, I can't. Say no to absolutely everything extra. Think of this stage as driving around on E. Like, you have to drive, you've got to get to where you want to go, but you're on E, right? And gas is expensive. And so you have to conserve the very last drops of gas that you have. That is what's happening in this baby steps stage. So we are saying no to everything. Say no to plans. Say no to extra work. No, I do not have the bandwidth. No, I do not have the capacity. Say no to excess plans. Delegate whenever and however and wherever you can. Ask for help from friends and family and coworkers, and push deadlines. Push those deadlines when you need to. All of this is going to allow you to show up in your life how you need to for yourself, while also doing the bare minimum so that you can continue to recover. So it's almost like a hibernation on the go phase, where you are still taking that time wherever you can to do nothing, and you are still recharging, you are still recuperating, but you have to just go back to regular life. And so you're essentially like quiet quitting your daily life while you can spend the time recharging. Now, this is going to be one of the most important notes in this whole video. And I know, because I have succumbed to this trap basically every time. And that is thinking that because you took the time to rest, that now you can go back full force. You can go back to your exact schedule, your exact pacing, your exact output, your exact everything, full force, sometimes even more and higher than before. I would often feel like I needed to make up for lost time, and I was like, okay, I'm feeling a little better. I'm gonna double down. I'm gonna work double hard. And what kind of sense does that make? Right. And you might actually feel like this burst of energy. You might feel a little bit more like, okay, I can do this. Hey, okay, I'm feeling better. Don't. That is you simply feeling your baseline raise a bit, and simply feeling your gas. We're using this car metaphor still for some reason. Putting a little bit more gas in with each break that you take. So we're not going to deplete that immediately by going full force, pedal to the metal. We're going slowly so that we can still keep putting more gas in, I guess. I don't know, guys. But yeah, going full force after your lowest points is only going to trigger the next crash. And maybe it'll take another week. Maybe it'll take a month. Maybe it'll take a year. I've had experiences of all of those things, of all of those timelines. And you never quite know like when your body is going to hit its limit, but it will. It will. if you are not entering back into your life and your regular routine at a sustainable rate, in a sustainable way, with care and compassion for your mental health and everything you're going through, you will find yourself right back in the same position, sometimes worse. So we are going to enter into the new routine with bare minimum effort, bare minimum capacity, and we're not going to jump on the little energy we finally get back. Yay! Okay, the second key is mandatory self-care. Self-care in this stage is basically going to be prescribed like a medication. Okay? Self-care is something you have to do in this time. And self-care is whatever that means for you, whatever is most effective for you. Some people love drawing a bath, and doing that either every day or once a week is really going to help them recover and is really going to help them feel safe and relaxed. For some people, drawing a bath every day sounds like torture. It sounds like, why would I sit in water every day? So it's just going to be whatever works for you. And maybe you need to experiment. Maybe you need to try different things. And if you hear a bath works for somebody and then you go, okay, let me try it, and it doesn't, don't feel bad. Don't, be like, something's wrong with me. It's just not your thing. It's not your self-care mode, and we got to find another one. But it is absolutely vital to not see every act of self-care as like a little treat, or it's an indulgence. No, it is, what did I say? It's prescribed. It is your medication for this period. So figuring out what your self-care toolkit is and then using it relentlessly. I personally do love a bath. I also, in my worst times, I don't feel like I have the energy to get into a bath. I just don't. So baths for me are like when I'm in a good spot self-care, and when I'm in a bad spot self-care, it's usually like a comforting meal, like a really comforting meal, like a warm drink in bed or on the sofa. And the last key of this stage is simple comforts and nostalgia. So we're going to lean on nostalgia very heavily. Lean on the things that you love. Lean on your guilty pleasures. Lean on your simplest comforts. Your favorite hobbies, whatever it is that makes you feel the warm and fuzzies inside. And I know in these times it's very hard to find what those things are, but the things that historically have given you that feeling, lean on those. Don't count them out just because right now you're not feeling those warm and fuzzies. Still lean on them, because they are going to be your buoys in this stage. Commit to a theme. Maybe you make a silly theme out of this period of your life. Maybe you're like, okay, this is arts and craft quarter. This is childhood favorites week. Whatever theme you want to create that makes you feel like there's a little bit of whimsy in your day, in your week, in your month, in your year, make a theme. Binge a show, pick one show, binge the whole dang thing, then pick another, and then binge that whole thing. Have a themed movie marathon. And better yet, if you can do these with a friend, and this is preferably the friend that you told you are going through a hard time, you can do your movie marathons together. You can sit on FaceTime together in bed and watch movies, because likely they might be going through the same thing. You never know. But in general, having simple comforts and nostalgic moments that have once brought you so much joy and now you can reintroduce, it gives you something to look forward to each day, which is so, so, so important in moments like this, because it feels like there's not a lot to look forward to. For me, I love to pick up a new game. Get a game that I know is going to take a long time. It's a large scale adventure, or it's a town builder that's kind of endless. I get the game and I play it, and I just immerse myself in that game. And I know that sounds a little bit silly. Well, I don't think it sounds silly, but it might sound silly to some other people. But for me, that was like the only thing I looked forward to in those days. That was it. That was all I felt that I had. That is just to say, imagine if I didn't have that. The days would be a lot harder. And so it doesn't matter what little thing it is, but having just something that you look forward to, find it, hold it close. And don't feel bad, don't feel guilty, don't feel silly for having that and continuing to come back to it and just making that your hyperfixation for this period. And also giving yourself that thing that you can return to every single day. Again, whether it's a show, a game, a theme, a movie. It does help you form a structure in your day a little bit. And as you are in this stage of baby steps and rebuilding your routine into what your routine used to look like, that is going to be so, so helpful. helpful. Just having a little bit of structure to your days, whether it's in the morning and at night, during lunch, it's going to be very helpful in creating a regular routine again. And slowly, you are going to start to feel like you care more and more, which will bring us to stage 3, which is re-emergence. Okay, key number 1 for this stage is picking up where you left off. So this is getting back into things. The key is to not push too far. Don't push too far. Only pick back up when you genuinely feel the impulse internally. Don't pick back up because you feel like you should. Don't pick things back up because you're like, okay, it's been long enough. No, do not force this moment. Wait on re-emergence. Wait for this moment until you feel it. You have the thought. You have the feeling in your heart that you want to. That is the time when you are ready, not when there is an external shame, guilt, whatever, pushing you towards it. Because what's going to happen if we do that? We're going to end up right back where we started. Yep. But you will look up one day and you will realize like, oh, I actually want to do some laundry. Messy room that's been accumulating through this period. Ooh, that's rough, but I'm kind of ready to organize it now. And reminder of the key that we only do it when we actually have the thought and the feeling. And again, the trap reminder of not going too hard into this feeling. Just because you have the thought, just because you have the feeling that you're ready to get back to it, does not mean to get back to it at full force, does not mean to get back to it at triple time to make up for anything. Keep sustainability in mind, keep a measured, balanced approach to this, and don't push yourself too hard. Let yourself do 1 to 2 getting back to it tasks a day and not go crazy and burn yourself out again. Okay, key number 2 to the re-emergence stage is learning from this moment. This is the time to do a deep reflection on how and why this period, this moment, this low point might have come about. And there doesn't always have to be a reason. Like I've said, sometimes it's simply brain chemistry, sometimes it's just arbitrary. But for me, in my experience, my personal lowest points have been triggered by, well, me. And every time has been pushing past limits, pushing past signs of burnout, pushing through points where I felt like I couldn't do anything and I didn't have capacity left and I still kept going. So if that sounds similar to you, your re-emergence stage is the time to reflect on how and why this happened. Do you not know your signs of burnout? Do you not know your signs in your body, in your mind, of when things get too much and when you don't have capacity anymore? Do you not know when your social battery is too low? Do you just say yes to too much? Why do you say yes to too much? Did you pile on too many social plans without having time to recharge? Did you go too long without a day for yourself, or maybe a scheduled vacation? When's the last time you took PTO? All of those considerations are things we're going to dig really deep on in this moment. Now that we are kind of on the other side of it, it's time to look at it with a very critical hard eye. And not critical in like a mean way, just critical in a we are deeply analyzing so that we can learn and make our lives better for ourselves moving forward and not make the same choices that brought us to this point in the first place. This is also a time to look at external factors. Maybe it's people, maybe it's your work, maybe it's a relationship, a friendship, a habit, a vice, like whatever the external factor is. It's time to put a critical eye on that too and see if this external factor is what keeps causing these low moments. And if so, something's got to give. Okay, and the last key to this re-emergence stage is being cognizant of language and the language that you use externally and internally about these periods and these low moments. So because language matters and our thoughts are powerful and yada yada, all of that, we want to look at this re-emergence stage, now that we are kind of returning to our regular routines, as a return to you and a investment in you and a healing of you, rather than a completely new person and a new you. Because that person at your lowest point, that person who was shouldering the burdens of everything sucking, was still you. That was still you. And so villainizing that version of you is not going to help. It's not going to teach us any lessons. It's not going to foster self-compassion and self-love. Villainizing that version and saying, I'm not her anymore. That's not me. I'm over that now. And that was awful. And that she sucked. That is not going to help. Language matters. How we view ourselves matters. And that is still a version of us. Again, imagine a little version of you, and imagine you talking about little version of you at her lowest point, going through that. That's still you. So thinking about and talking about, when you talk to other people about this experience, when you write about this experience in your diaries and your journals, when you think about it as a return to the you that you want to be and a healing of that you, like a patching up of that you. Don't disjoint them, don't separate them, don't compartmentalize and villainize this one and put this one on a pedestal, because that is only going to lead to a repeated pattern in the future, or it's going to lead to shame and guilt in the future when this version of you does come back, because it happens. It will happen. There's going to be another low point in life, and you are going to have the tools now to work through it in the best way. But we don't want to feel a sense of like shame and fault for that version just because we came out on the other side. We still want to have ownership and care and compassion for that version and put them all under the same umbrella. Like, we are still all one person. You have just healed that version and you have returned to the version that is in its best state. And also what we're going to do is thank that version of ourselves and be grateful for that version of ourselves for teaching us something really valuable. Again, this is not a blanket statement. This doesn't apply to every low point in every person, because there are some low points that don't teach you a damn thing and it's just terrible. But a lot of the times we are learning something from that version of ourselves. So don't villainize them. Don't make them out to be this entirely separate gremlin version of you. That's just for the gremlin thoughts, okay? This version of you is still you. Hold them, care for them, thank them, so that it won't feel as hopeless next time around. You'll say, hey, I remember you. We've got this. Let's get through this. Now, with this experience, you've got your toolbox and your framework, and you can always heal yourself again. You can always patch yourself up if something happens. Okay, y'all, those are all of the stages and the different key actions in each of the stages that I think help a lot with getting through the moments when everything sucks. Just a emphasis on a couple of things. You cannot ignore your body. You cannot ignore your body. You cannot ignore your body. You cannot grin and bear it through burnout, through stress, through overwhelm, through toxicity. It will always come back to bite you tenfold. It will always come back to say, pay up. Pay up for that time, that overtime that you took from me. Yeah, pay up. I also just want to acknowledge that I know so many people right now are not in a position to be able to pull back. It's like, yeah, I wish I could pull back in some way. I can't right now. And I 100% understand that. I have been there before. It was awful. And it truly felt like there was just no give at all in any direction. So before it does get to absolute rock bottom, you can still do these steps in small, tiny ways. In as small of a way as you can. You can engage with these steps and keep them in mind to at least keep you from absolute rock bottom. And again, I know that to be true because this is a framework I used years ago when I was at basically absolute rock bottom, but these things kept me from getting all the way there. But in general, y'all, with self-care, compassion, and releasing of shame, you can come out on the other side. I am so proud of you. No, I'm not getting emotional. You always deserve rest and time for yourself and time to do nothing simply for existing. You do not need to earn it. You don't need to prove yourself to anybody. You deserve rest simply for existing, and you will get through it. I know you will. I love you so much. Stay cozy. Bye.